Erev Tov, Rabotai. This is going to be our last lecture about laws of Passover. Bezat Hashem. After Passover starts, we're going to start doing Pirkei Avot next week. So we're going to wrap it up now, right? The final conclusion over here. So tonight, Bezat Hashem, we're doing the Bedikat Chametz. And as soon as you go home, right, the rule is you start right away. Don't do other things. Have now dinner. And go to the bank. And go to visit your cousin. This is not the time now. You go straight, to the mitzvah, because, this is a very important mitzvah. We want you to do it right away. Don't delay it. If you don't feel, strong, you can have a little snack. Something small, some fruit, some candy, whatever, just to hold you over. Don't have a big meal now, seuda. You're not supposed to do that, right? You can have a little candy bar or something, right? Some fruits, and get started, and finish it off, and then, right, you can have a nice dinner afterwards, then you're going to fall asleep, it's going to be too late. But what can you do? Okay, that's the way it goes. Okay, so we do the bedika, right, as we said, right, we start, and al biur chametz, right, is the bracha. Al biur chametz. Once you make the bracha, you have to use a candle, right, as we said, with one wick. Don't use a Havdalah candle, right, with many wicks. Asur. Why is it asur to use a Havdalah candle? Because you're afraid, since the ash is very big, you're afraid, to go into the small places. You may start a fire or something. You know what happened to one person? I'll tell you. Real story, emet. There was a guy, religious guy with a beard. He was checking for chametz, and his beard got lit with the with the candle. It started a fire on his beard. Can you imagine? It's a good thing he saw it, otherwise his face would have burned. God knows what. You got to be careful, So that's why, we don't want to use a big Havdalah candle, many wicks. It's too much fire there going on, what I mean? You want a small flame, one wick, right? Like, Shabbat candle, right? Or, Hanukkah candle, something like that, right? A small one. Nice, that's the way to do it. So when you make the bracha, you got to start right away, because otherwise if you do something else, let's say, right, somebody calls you on the phone. Hello, who is this? Ktoeta. No, it's not the time now, because if you do hefsek, right, something, in the middle, you got to make another bracha. You know what I mean? Because you didn't start. You got to start right away. If you already started, and then somebody called you couldn't answer the phone. It's okay, But don't do it right after the bracha, until you start to do the bedikah. That's the thing, Otherwise, it's called hefsek.
So shut off the light or no?
No, don't shut off the lights. Right? Keep everything on, like whatever. Nice. The more the merrier, as they say, right? The Americans, right? The better it is when you have more light. You see better, right? That's the whole point.
Kitchen table not ready yet. Let's say. Is it okay?
So start with the other rooms, until your wife gets it ready. Then come over there, right? I'm sorry, Mechila.
All rooms, you just do one room. That's it.
No, they're gonna do the whole house, right? But the thing is, what do you call it? Only where chametz goes there, sometimes, maybe, But if you know for sure, right, chametz never goes in this room, 100%, then you don't need it, right? But anyway, sometimes, what happens, right? Sometimes you come home from shul, you got some candy, what I mean? And it's in your pocket, and you put it in your drawer. You never know, right, how it is, right? So you should check, just in case, whatever. But if you know, like for instance, as I told you before, right, nobody takes chametz into the bathroom, you know what I mean? So you don't have to check in the bathroom, unless you have little kids, right, as we said, right? If you got little kids, that's something else. They go everywhere, the kids. But big adults, they don't go into the bathroom with chametz. They don't take the mechila, yeah.
Okay, if we clean up the whole room,
yeah,
I'm sure nothing inside. I close the room. Anyway, I should go to.
Yeah, you got to check it. You got to check it anyway, right? That's the thing, First clean and then check, right? This is the proper way to do, Because if you check, when there's a mess, you cannot check nothing like that. You can't do nothing.
But you're gonna put 10 pieces the chametz.
Yeah, it's a minhag to do this, to put little pieces like this,
In one room, not in every.
This is not the most important. Wherever you want, it's up to you, wherever your children or whatever your wife wants to put it. Whatever you got, right? Whoever the family is there, right? Somebody's gonna put it there. You can put it scattered, all over the rooms. That's not the most important thing, this is just a minhag, you know what I mean? But the most important thing is to check.
What happens if we forget one of them, Rabbi? One of them we forget where we put it, and then what happens?
Yeah, it's a good question. You see, this happens sometimes, by the way. People forget, That's why they tell you, make them smaller than a kazite. Because if you forget this way, if you lose it, you can just bottle it, If it's smaller than a kazite, you can do bitul. You know what I mean? But if it's bigger than kazite, you gotta look for it now, until you find it, You gotta call the police, I know what you gotta do, You got a problem there, I'm sorry. Yeah. That's
Mispar.
Right. You can do some, whatever, right? You can put some radioactivity, whatever, right? Infrared.
Can I use a flashlight?
You can use, but candle is better, you know what I mean? Because the rabbi said candle, If you don't have candle, let's say, I don't know, whatever, you can't use it for some reason. So you can use a flashlight, you can use it.
Flashlight at that time.
Right. It's just, candle is better because the rabbis made like candle, that's what they said. In those days, they didn't have flashlights, you know what I mean? They made candle. So candle is better, yes, But if you have no candle, you can use a flashlight, yes. No problem.
Safe.
Whatever.
That time was no flashlight.
Yeah, there was no flashlight, yeah. If there was, they may have done it, with a flashlight. I don't know. I cannot guess, I don't know. I'm not a prophet, I'm not a Navi, Whatever. I don't know what they would say. Whatever. But it is what it is, right? So, okay.
It's not a problem, right?
Huh? It's not a problem. No, it's not a problem. Because you see it good, it's nice spotlight, it's good.
Go back to that question.
Yeah.
If I still have kitchen table not ready, let's say tomorrow I can have a breakfast.
Right. So, I'm going to tell you how to do this, right? The proper thing to do. We're all going to, B'ezrat Hashem, try to have some breakfast, in the morning, some chametz, in the morning. Right. Why not? You should, Don't be fanatic, and say, what can I have in the morning? It's too late, I get nervous, don't be like that, There are some, by the way, I have to tell you the truth, There are some, who have a wife, and she tells the husband, don't bring in chametz into the house 1 week before Pesach. Eat outside, So he sends him out like a dog, like a cat, in the street. He eats in the street, the poor guy. What I mean? If you have a wife like that, what can you do? I don't know what to tell you. But if you have a normal wife, what I mean? She's normal. So then she'll let you eat, at breakfast, like a normal human being. What's the problem, right? That's the thing. So as we said, right, the way to do it is like this, regarding the issue of eating and everything. Check every room, If the kitchen is not ready, let your wife, work on that. Do the other rooms, first. Go do the bedrooms, do the living room, salon, right, the dining room. And then come back there when she's ready, and do over there. Check over there. Because the kitchen is really the most important room. Because all the chametz is there, what I mean? Most of the chametz is over there. So you got to really check the kitchen good. Make sure everything is checked over there, what I mean?
The problem is we put little chametz on the side on the table. So for a breakfast,
I'm going to tell you what to do. Don't worry. So I got you. You want to have a good, nice breakfast. I understand. We all do.
first keep tanet.
Right. God bless you. You're right. Okay. So we'll explain, right? So the thing is like this, right? As we said, then, right, check every room. When you finish, what the halacha says is like this, the chametz that you want to have in the morning, put it like away somewhere, in a drawer, so doesn't get scattered. What I mean? Just put it in one place. This way nobody's going to touch it, the children, whatever, You don't have children, but some people have children. So we don't want nobody to touch it, So we put it in one drawer, put it away. This way we know where it is, It's over there. It's not anywhere else, because I already checked everywhere. That's it. I'm done with this. Because if it goes out again, I have to check again, one more time. That's crazy, I already checked last night. Now I got to check again. Crazy, It's no good. So that's what you want to do, Put it in one place, everything, And then in the morning, right, but before we get to the morning, right, at night, as we said, right, once you finish the bedika, you make bitul, right? Kol chamira dika birshuti, right? The raite, right? Velo raite, all this, right? We say the bitul. The minhag is to say 3 times, the bitul. This is the minhag, It's 3 times to make it strong, to make it zdarov, So we say 3 times. Look in the machzor if you don't know, right? How to say. Say in the language you understand. Once you say that, right, you're done. That's it, right? You can now do what you want, right? Have dinner. I don't know. You want to go sleep. Whatever it is you want to do, it's up to you, right? Whatever makes you happy. You want to learn Torah, that's even better, right? So, what do you call it? That's how you do it. And then in the morning, right, what you do is you wake up, go to Shachrit, come home, have your breakfast, take it out, right? Have your breakfast and then pack it up. Whatever's left. Whatever you sold, right? You put it in the closet. Whatever you don't want to sell, you want to burn it, bring it over here, right? The rabbi, he's got his barrel over here, right? And take care of it, right? That's it, right? So, what are the times? I was just checking, right? Yesterday, what I told you was approximation, Now I got the exact times of everything, So, the last time you can have chametz in the morning is 10:53. This is the end of the 4th hour, because it's late now, summer, going to summer. It's late. Daylight savings, daylight savings time, right? So we have 1 more hour. I mean, it would be 9:53 if it wasn't daylight savings. Now it's 10:53. It's the same thing. It's just, it's an illusion. It's just an illusion. So it's really 9:53. Whatever it is, right? 10:53. I'm talking about the New York area, right? I'm not talking about somebody who lives in Florida. He has to look over there in his luach over there. You know what I mean? That's something else. I'm not talking. I'm talking about the New York area, Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan. Bronx, right? Whatever, right? Even maybe New Jersey. It's not too far, right? The New Jersey is also very close. So, as we said, right, that 10:53, you got to stop eating. Before that, right? 10:50, right? Let's say, right? And don't come and tell me now, oh, but I saw in the luach it says something else, different time. It's true, the different luchot, they have different times. You know what I mean? Don't worry about it. Just follow this. What I tell you, that's halakha. There are different luchot. Some says half hour early, some says half hour like this, like that. It makes you crazy. Every luach has something else. You know what I mean? But this is the good halakha. 10:53. So now, right? So what do you do now? Right? To finish your breakfast, say Birkat Hamazon, and then right, go and do right. Come and burn it. You know what I mean? That's the next step, right? Come to the shul, burn the chametz. When you burn it, make another bitul, right? You do a second time. Bitul, again 3 times. Right? Bitul. You gotta bottle it. Why is that? Because now you're bottling whatever you had in the morning, you know what I mean? But that you last night you weren't thinking about to bottle this, you want to eat it, right? So that's why you gotta do it again. You know what I mean? So you gotta bottle it again. So what you do, you burn it, and then, right, once it's burned, bottle it again. 1 more time, 3 times, like we said. But it's a little bit different, the one you say in the morning is different than the one at night. It's a little bit different. So make sure you got the right one. It's a little bit different. Right? Why? Because it applies, to what you're doing now and not to what you did last night. It's 2 different situations. Right? So a little bit different. Look in the Siddur, look in the Machzor, you'll find it over there, right? The one for the night, the one for the day, it's 2 different things. A little bit different, little bit. Check it out. If you have it, don't have it. Whatever it says over there, you can rely on that. It's fine. Okay. Anyway, so as we said, you bottle it, you burn it, right? If you weren't able to come to burn it, I don't know what you want to do, right? Throw it in the incinerator, right? In the garbage chute, right? If you live in an apartment building, or put it in the street, right? If you live in a private house, right? Take it out in the street and put it out there, right? If you want to do that, you can do that too. But it's a mitzvah to burn also a little bit, kazait, come to burn something. You know what I mean? To do the mitzvah of burning it. Okay. There is a special mitzvah, to do the burning.
Do they burn lulav also?
This is Ashkenazim they do, this minhag, it's not our minhag, Again, right, Chabad gave us Ashkenazi minhagim, We don't do this minhag, it's not our minhag. What we do with the lulav? We throw it away. We don't keep it. It's like some kind of a firewood, You know why the Ashkenazim they do this, right? They use the lulav because they say, if you did one mitzvah, now do another mitzvah, now another one. It's nice. It's a nice thing, nice minhag, nice idea, nice concept. But not really, it's not our minhag. We don't have this minhag. Whatever you want, it's out there, What I do is I throw the lulav away, After Sukkot ends, I throw it away. That's what it says in the Mishnah, right? It's nizrakin, you throw it away. That's what it says over there in the Mishnah. You throw away the lulav. Okay, whatever, it's all good, right? So anyway, right, as we said, that's how you do it. So you got, now, how much time do you have to burn to get rid of the chametz? Right? You have another hour, right? So, in other words, 10:53 we said, right, you got to stop eating, right? And then 11:56, another hour, right?
Yes.
That's the end of the, what do you call it? You have another hour to sell it. Right? To sell it or to burn it, right? You have another hour. So 10:53 is eating. 11:56, burning. Right? Selling, right? All this stuff.
Rabbi say 9:30.
I'm sorry?
Rabbi, they bring the whole chametz 9:30.
9:30 is nice, but I'm telling you the last minute, the last, last, You know what I mean? The perfect, exact time, you know what I mean? That's 9:30 is approximation, nice approximation. So anyway, right? Yeah, Mechila.
When is the good time to do Erev Tavshelim?
Cool. It's good you reminded me. I'll talk about that. So as we said, right? What we do is you have another hour, right? 11:56 to burn the chametz or sell the chametz, whatever you want to do, right? Throw it away, right? You want to flush it down the toilet, you can do that too. Whatever you want to do, you do. You know, that's the way it is, right? Yesterday we spoke about selling it to a goy, right? Selling it to your neighbor. Right? I don't know if all of you were here, but we spoke about that. I also want to tell you another thing, which is that the question is like this: can you give it to the goy as a gift, instead of selling it? That's the question, right? So it says in the Shulchan Aruch you can do that too. If you want to give it to him as a matana, tell him, "Oh, you're my neighbor. Come, let me give you some chametz on the house, right?" So you can give it to him as a gift if you want,
No bad.
No. You should have a bag. I'll tell you why. Because he has to pick it up anyway. So what I mean to say that even if you give it as a gift, he has to still make kinyan, acquisition. You know what I mean? So he has to put it in a bag, let him pick it up. And that's how he acquires it. By picking it up or pulling it, as we said, right into his apartment, right? Pulling it. Right? If you can't do that, as we said, right, you make a contract. Give him a receipt. You know what I mean? The best way to do is to pick it up or to pull it into his place. If you can't do that for some reason, it's too much, too heavy, or it's a different place, so you can give it to him as a gift. You know what the question is? There's an interesting question about this, How can you give it to him as a gift? The truth is, that it says in the Torah, right, lo techonem. This pasuk. So what is this talking about? There's different definitions about what lo techonem means. One of the things is they say, you're not allowed to give a gift to a goy, That's why we don't give tzedakah to a goy. You're not allowed to give tzedakah to a goy. So then how can you give him a gift, like the chametz? Maybe it's worth $100. Give him a nice gift over there, So how can you give him? So you know what they say, right? Poskim say, here you're allowed to give him anyway. You know why? Because you're doing a mitzvah, you need to get rid of it. You know what I mean? So since it's a mitzvah to get rid of it, to destroy it, so here you're allowed to give it to him because of this, But in general, we don't give tzedakah to a goy, we don't give gifts to a goy. Unless, let's say, you live in an apartment building, right? You know what I'm talking about. And you got like a super, you got a handyman, right? So, the minhag is that we give them like a tip, so what about that? So there it's okay because he's giving you service, that's you're giving a tip for service. So there you're allowed to give him, but don't give him for nothing, just give for nothing, for no reason, Unless you're exchanging favors with the goy, that he gives you, you give him, you're friendly, with him. So this is okay, because it makes you friendly, and it gives you good working conditions, good business conditions, It's a smart thing, to give gifts to each other, to make, to bring each other close, so you can work together well, in harmony, right? That's okay, I'm not talking about that, but to give him for nothing, you're not allowed to give him, something for nothing. But here, it's not for nothing, it's for a mitzvah. So therefore, you're allowed to give him, even as a matana. But as we said, right, if you want, you can sell it to him also, as we said, right? Give him $1, let him give it back to you, and let him pick it up, right? Pull it into his house, and that's it. You sold it, right? So then you go back, right? You buy it back from him after Pesach is over. You knock on his door and say, "Let me buy it back from you now." By the way, the truth is, he can refuse. If he really wants to, if he's really a bad guy, some people are bad. They'll give you trouble. No, I don't want to give it back to you. I'm sorry. You cannot do nothing. The truth is because it belongs to him. You cannot force him to give it back to you. So, so that's why, when you sell chametz to a goy, the smart thing to do is give it to a friendly goy, somebody who likes you, But somebody who, anti-Semite, Tucker Carlson, You don't give it to somebody like that, Tucker, don't give it to Tucker. Because he won't give it back to you. He's gonna give it to Qatar, right? He's not gonna give it to you. Okay, right, you get the point. So, what was your question again, right? You asked about the, Right, Eruv Tavshilin. So Eruv Tavshilin, the rule is, it's a very important thing, right, to do Eruv Tavshilin. Why? Because this allows us to prepare for Shabbat, on Friday. What does that mean? To cook, to do all the preparations, like all these things. It allows us to do this to the Eruv, because otherwise, you cannot cook on Friday for Shabbat. You know why? Because Friday is Yom Tov and Shabbat. So you're not allowed to prepare from Yom Tov to Shabbat. You're not allowed to do this. The only way to do it is to make an Eruv. So therefore it's very important. So when do we make the Eruv? Before Shkia, before sunset, right? So meaning what? Before you come to Shul, right? Make sure you do it, right? You can do it also earlier. You can do it early also.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, yeah. You can do it early also. You can do 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. But just make sure you do it before you come to Shul, because otherwise it's too late. Then we're going to go home now, right? Do it again, right? It's hard.
Or wife or sister or daughter.
You can do, but if you want to make her a shliach for you, for her to do it for you, you can tell her, you do it for me. You know, you're allowed to do that. It's okay, no problem. You know?
Friday, we allowed to turn on the light, fire.
Right, so if you make the Eruv, right, so now you're allowed to pass the fire from one to another, right? You cannot make a new fire. You know what I mean? No, because it's Yom Tov. You know? So you pass the fire one to the other, right? It's 2 days of Yom Tov. So make sure, right, you got a memorial candle. You know what I mean? That's going to go 2 days, you know? So you want to light it tomorrow, and it's going to go until Shabbat. The memorial candle, right?
3 days.
No, 2 days is enough. Why? Because you need it to start tomorrow and until Friday. No, Saturday you don't need it, right? You don't need it. You can't use it on Saturday. You need it until Friday afternoon, right?
No, but still you have to put it Saturday light.
No, Saturday you cannot do nothing, right? There's nothing you can
Friday
do.
light,
Yeah.
you have to turn on the
Right, but you're gonna do it on Friday, right? That's the thing, you know. So it's gonna be lit still. You know what I mean? If you light it, let's say in the afternoon, right? Tomorrow afternoon, it's gonna be lit Friday afternoon. You know, 48 hours, 50 hours it goes. You know what I mean? So you got enough time, you know. So you don't need really a 3-day candle. You need a 2-day candle. You know, it should go until Shabbat. You know, you don't have to, it doesn't have to go into Shabbat. What do you need it for Shabbat? You don't need it. You understand?
But
If you want to be generous, get a 3-day. You know, but you don't really need it. So you know, it's up to you.
If I have a 3-day candle,
Yeah.
and I use only for 2 days,
Yeah.
later on, let's say
Yeah.
during the other time, can I use it for another like the 1 day?
So on Shabbat you cannot do nothing with it, right?
You don't understand?
Yeah.
3-day candle.
Ah, yeah, you can use it later for a different time. Yeah, for a different. Yeah, sure, why not? But the thing is, you know, you cannot put it out on Shabbat, so it's going to go all Shabbat. You know what I mean? That's the thing. You know, you have to put it out before Shabbat. But the thing is, it's Yom Tov. You know, so you got a problem also there. It makes it complicated. You know, that's why I tell you.
candle here is Shabbat.
That's why I tell you. You know, get a 2-day candle. You know, get a 2-day candle. Light it tomorrow afternoon, and you got the whole until Shabbat. It's going to go. You know, and that's it. That's all you need. You know, it's right. So that's the way it works. You know, with the Eruv. So with the Eruv, as we said, right. I'm going too late. I'm sorry. You got to do Arvit. So as we said, right, the Eruv, make sure you do before Shkia. You know, right? That's the most important thing. ברוך ה' לעולם, אמן ואמן. ויהי חנן כשומר, רצי הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות ישראל. לפי חלקי בא להם תורה ומצוות, שלמד מנה חפץ, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה בידי.